Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angryprepper. So today's video, we're going to talk about how I screwed up this week, and it cost me about a week's worth of food. As some of you might know, if you looked on my Instagram or the YouTube Shorts, you saw the mess that I made out of a bin, right? So a lot of you know I have two storage units. One of my storage units was in the Bronx. I went to consolidate that storage unit into another one, and upon moving everything around and moving things uh, to the Manhattan site, I come across my bin that I knew I had canned goods in. So, I'm carrying this thing around. I lift it up, and I get a whiff of something, and I'm like, motherfucker. I'm already thinking mold because I had a wool blanket in there, as some of you guys saw. I open it up. The smell hits me in the face, and I'm automatically pissed. I'm not disgusted. I'm like, oh, what the hell is this? I'm pissed because I know what's going on. I lift the blanket up, and I see nothing but rusted. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you guys what it looked like. So as you can see here, there's rusted cans all throughout this bin. So this bin had, if I'm not mistaken, some Campbell's soup, regular soup. I think Progresso was in there as well. And then these white cans here, these are detergent. So that's homemade detergent. Now the homemade detergent clearly wasn't affected. It's in glass jars, though the lids are rusted. The food apparently exploded inside the bin. So one, two, or a few cans exploded because there is, at this point here, you can see liquid at the bottom. Now, clearly, guys, there's botulism in there, and you can't smell botulism or taste it, and it's colorless at that. Nonetheless, if somebody was desperate enough to eat out of here, they would have definitely died from all the shit that was going on in there. And then you see my wool blanket. Now, this wool blanket is an alpaca wool blanket. This alpaca wool blanket wasn't that expensive, but it was pricey. And that's ruined. Now, I know some of you are thinking, I could have salvaged the detergent and I could have salvaged the blanket. No. Not with that kind of smell that was going on in there, and I was at a storage unit. Had this happened at home or in a house, I would have taken the detergent out, cleaned the jars off, probably taken a blanket and washed it a couple of times to see if I can get the smell out. But that's at home. At a storage unit, I can't do that. I'm not putting this shit in my truck to smell up my truck to take it home and try to wash it out and then smell out the apartment. So, unfortunately, I had to dump it all. The guy was nice enough to let me use their dumpster. I dumped it in the dumpster, and that was it. Now, here's the laziness story to this whole thing. These canned goods and detergents were on a shelf in another storage unit, which was a block away from this one in the Bronx. I had it all stacked nicely on the shelves. I had everything squared away. And then when I moved from that storage unit to this one in the Bronx, I just threw everything in a bin and shifted up. Now, I knew that I dented some cans. I knew that some of them were going to be damaged, but 6 months prior to me opening up that bin, or maybe a little more than that, almost a year actually, almost a year, they were fine. I checked the cans. I didn't see any bulging, anything like that, so I thought nothing of it. Now, of course, you're supposed to go back to your storage unit every 3 or 6 months, check out your goods, check out your supplies, make sure everything is intact, make sure there's no mold on anything, make sure there's no fucking rat droppings all over the place, or rodents eating through your shit. With that, guys, with all of the shit that happened, a year went by like that, and then there goes my issue. All of that crap that went inside that bin. So, I screwed up, and it cost me a week of food, and it was a giant lesson to learn. Now, it was good that I learned this lesson now and not during this shit. Now, imagine if I would have needed that food. Keep in mind, guys, it was only a week's worth of food, but nonetheless, it was a week's worth of food that would have been useful if the shit was on. So, thankfully, it happened now. Thankfully, I learned my lesson the hard way. I can restock that stuff up inside of a day or two. Inside of a day. One grocery trip to the store, I can restock all of that. But during a shit hits the fan scenario, guys, every day counts. So that right there was about 7, 8 days worth of food. Detergent was probably about 6 months. Detergent I can make again, no problem. Especially now, I can make it again. Now, if this was a shit hits the fan scenario, I would have been cleaning those detergent jars, if you will. But being that it's not, I can afford to throw it away and start all over again. So I have a couple of solutions after all of this going on, because what prepper wouldn't come up with a solution after this happened? So now, solution number one is never put those canned goods in a bin unless I'm moving. And after I'm done moving, take them out of the bin, put them back on the shelves. That was the lazy side of me, and kept telling myself I'm going to get to it, and this is what happens. Other solution that I'm coming up with is I'm going to start adding more dehydrated meals to my preps, though dehydrated meals do require more water than canned goods. Dehydrated meals are lighter, and I will come up with the water, or a way to not produce water, but a way to get water to make those foods. I'm still going to collect canned goods, but dehydrated foods, you run into less of a problem like that. Another solution is check the storage unit and the bins more frequently. Now, another thing I could have done with the bins is I could have gotten a clear bin, see-through bin, that I can see it. Now, a see-through bin that has a lid on it and one of those clamps that you clamp on top of the bin, sort of like one of these. See how it has a little clamp here? Or this one up here has a clamp up top here. So this, guys, so something like that with a lid on top, with a clamp on top, but also make sure it has a ring inside, a rubber ring, so that it can keep everything inside. There are, and yes, I know some of you are going to say they're a little more expensive, so be it. Now, this one on top is super cheap. This one's like probably $2, but you're not going to put food in here. You're going to put food in something bigger, again, with a clamp lid on top and a seal ring inside the lid, so that it keeps everything inside. Now, interestingly enough, when I was in the storage unit, that bin wasn't a seal tight lid. I didn't smell anything. I didn't smell anything until I moved it. Actually, until I got it onto the cart. When I got on the cart, then I smelled it. I was like, the fuck is that? When I looked inside to see what was in it, I thought, all right, the wool blanket is shot because all the mold. Nope. The moisture inside there, the darkness, the moisture, and all the cans, when you look at the video again, it's rusted to shit. I mean, every last food can was rusted to shit, and every ring and lid in the jar was rusted to shit. Somebody was saying, oh, it's just surface rust. No, it wasn't surface rust. It was rust. And it looks like it was eaten through a couple of the jar lids and rings. So again, guys, bottom line is, if you have a storage unit, don't be fucking lazy. Check it every 3 months, 6 if you have a lot of shit going on. And like what I did, leaving it in a bin like that, bad idea. Put it back on the shelves. Now, some of you seen my shelf in the storage units, so I should have just put it back on there. I wouldn't have had this problem. But it was good that I learned this problem now and not later. Anyway, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.